Hello and welcome back to Loren, the Amazon Princess. Let's continue. Myr shed a tear for the dead demon. I can't believe. Elnor put a comforting hand on her back. You did nothing wrong. No one wants to believe there really is evil. Chambara whimpered in pain. They spun round to see that she was still there. Chambara! Get away from me! Myr ignored Chambara's threats and tended her wounds. Let me die, I want to! We're not ready for you to leave. We need you until the end. Myr and Chambara traded looks. About time you realised that. Myr smiled and offered her her hand to stand. Myr came to grips with herself, and her mind returned to normal. After a long silence, they moved into the next chamber. The rocks of the cavern walls seemed to turn to ash, covering the ground in a fine powder similar to sand. When Elnor entered the chamber, she understood why. Mesfit was standing in the centre of the cavern, facing away. Did Mesfit die? Was he slain and they never found out? Or was he just another illusion? Elnor was about to call out to him, but she heard a clicking noise to her side. She saw Ray crouching behind rubble, aiming his crossbow right at Mesfit. Elnor crept slowly towards Ray, as the elf closed one eye to aim his shot. Let him go. Let him have peace at last. Ray continued to stare down his crossbow at his target. Ray! Quiet. Don't you see what this realm is doing to you? It's testing you, testing me. I can't let you do this. I've waited too long for this. He's escaped my bolts too many times. He was my kill. I was supposed to take him down. But did I get to do it? Did I? Ray finally looked at Elnor, his eyes sharp as knives. Had to talk him out of it. Why do you need to kill him this much? Because I do. Because he's evil. Because he's the only target that's ever eluded me. It's not his fault that those things happened to him. It's my parents' fault that they died. Give him up. Never. Oh well, worth a shot. Right, let's move Corinne to the front row.
This is how it's done. Watch it.
This shouldn't be too difficult to fight. I'm not even going to use anything swanky.
Watch it.
Fry him with base attacks.
Watch it.
There we go. Easy peasy. Ray gurgled and coughed. He faded away shortly thereafter. Elnor looked down at the blood on her hands. She questioned everything that had happened. She attacked Ray. This place is warping me. It is its nature. We need to get out of here, right now. Elnor quickly abandoned the room, pushing it from her mind. A pile of gold coins and gems littered the floor of the next room. No one seemed to be around the treasure at first glance. Salazar appeared out of the corner of their eyes, surprising them. It's not real. Salazar, are you okay? None of this is real. We know. We're trying to find everyone so that we can get out. Salazar gazed at the gold pile. Without a word, he walked up to the treasure and picked up a few coins just to feel them. Are you ready? I'm not allowed to own possessions as a monk, you know. Elnor shook her head in disbelief, realizing that Salazar was not as okay as he first seemed. My life before I became a disciple. All I ever wanted was this stuff. Gold, gems. He clutched the gold coins tightly into his fist. I became a monk to escape that life and repent for my sister. But what have I? What has being a disciple of truth really done for me? Salazar. Nothing. I haven't changed the world. I haven't repented any of my sins. They still happen. I'm still the same boy who wants nothing but this. He threw the gold from his hands. It clanged loudly, making Elnor cringe. You're a better person. You are a better person. You're aware of your past flaws. You're much stronger and you fight for a good cause. Dedicating your life to Iroh showed a lot of character on your part. You're in control of your avarice, enough to let it go. Then why do I want this treasure? Why do I want to kill you just for coming near it? What? No, Salazar, that's dark magic making those urges. I know. None of this is real, but I'm completely out of control. I still need this treasure. I think it will bring her back somehow. It won't change anything. I know. So when I attack you, I need you to kill me, Elnor. Elnor backed up as Salazar assumed a battle stance. Before she could talk him down from fighting, Salazar began his first attack.
That's your best?
Okay, he's immune to a lot of stuff, but not poison. And certainly not the bee. No, I'm going to use the bees.
That's your best?
Feels unnecessary. Let's just cast regenerate. Keep everybody fighting fit.
That's your best? That's your best?
hit him with these that time. Suffocate. The sheer amount of times that she can hit is pretty impressive. With a water blast. And strike.
Give them a proper bearing. It's the right thing to do.
So pull up. I've got everything there. That could be quite useful, so I'm going to get that, I think. There we go. Thank you. Salazar exhaled and knelt on the floor, waiting to disappear from the realm. Shortly after sitting, he did fade away. Eleanor closed her eyes painfully, but she needed to press on. She wound around the piles of treasure for the door across the room. When Eleanor walked closer, however, a familiar dwarf jumped out from behind the sparkling piles. "You killed her! You killed my Dora!" Everyone gasped at how frightening Ramus had become. He was being completely controlled by a phantom anger. "Ramus, put the axe down." "No, Dora is alive. She's just not in this realm anymore." "You let her die!" "She was asking for help, so I did." "Murderer!" "No, it's not like that. You're dead!" Ramus suddenly lurched at them with a crazy howl. Yeah, I can take him. Okay, try and mark him. Immune to poison, immune to a lot of stuff, but he's weak to fire. These. And he's gone. Done. Ramus fell to one knee with a grunt. "Dora, you'll be with us soon. Wait for us, please. Stay alive." Before Eleanor could finish her plea, Ramus faded away, leaving the realm. That couldn't be helped. Faust was too strong. I hate this. I'm forced to put down my friends one by one like this. How could Faust be so cruel? It is in his nature. It cannot be helped. It will be helped when he's back in Inferno. Karen held her tongue as Eleanor stormed out of the cabin. Grass sprouted out of the cracks in the ground. Eleanor walked into a chamber that resembled the plains of Aberon. In the centre of the room stood Amakuki, as if he had been waiting for her. There were two swords stuck in the ground, like with the duel with Kroll. "You have finally come. You were waiting? Take your sword." Amakuki approached the sword closest to him. Eleanor could not mistake Amakuki's glare. "This is not mine. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that?" "I have sworn a new oath." Eleanor went rigid. "I have sworn not to let you past." "Amakuki, did you side with Faust?" "Take your sword." "He wishes to duel us. I am not sure I could compete with him." "You don't have to do this. Look into yourself. This isn't you." "I am thinking clearly." Amakuki pulled his sword out from the ground. His sword glowed just like Loren's. Faust had deceived him with a false ancient blade. "I have been promised many things." "Only a fool believes anything a Death Knight tells them. They're all lies." "No, nomads will become true citizens of Amaron. We will no longer be barbarians. We will be civilization. Faust will give us the world." "Please don't do this. You're acting as awful as Kroll." "Kroll was weak. He relied on an army. All I need to do is kill you. Take up your sword." "You swore an oath to Loren once, and now you've sworn an oath to her enemy. It can't be both ways." Amakuki stood stoic for a long moment. "You're right. My oaths conflict. Amakuki looked down at the false sword in his hand. "I have failed, and I must pay the price." Eleanor trembled, knowing only then what Amakuki was going to do. She looked away just in time before Amakuki took his own life. Eleanor looked back at Amakuki was gone. He had disappeared from the realm. He deserved better. We need to continue. Eleanor took in a deep breath. It would be hard to shake what had just happened from her mind. The tunnel to the next cabin was extremely long, and all light disappeared. Eleanor had to feel her way through the dark, until the tunnel expanded and poured out into a new room. A large field of light was stretched across the far wall. There were no more exits. Eleanor spotted a figure across the long room. Loren. Eleanor was elated to finally see her. She turned back to see everyone else's reactions, but no one was there. Eleanor was alone. What? Another test. Eleanor ran across the room to Loren, shouting her name. Loren did not turn around to greet her. Eleanor got caught in the glow of the wall and slowed to a stop. What is this? Is it a portal? She looked over at Loren, but she was turning her face away from her. Loren? Even as Eleanor rounded to stand in front of her, Loren refused to acknowledge Eleanor. Loren, why won't you look at me? Loren turned her face away from Eleanor each time she tried to get her attention. Why are you ignoring me? If you are the real Eleanor, know that I am not playing Frost's game. But I am the real Eleanor. I just went through so many caverns and caves to find you. I had to fight with our friends and I brought them here, but where are they? Eleanor started to panic. She had no proof of what she had just been through. Your mother was with me too, everybody. What? Queen Karen, she found me and told me about this being the Underrealm. We went through a series of tests and... Loren looked past Eleanor and suddenly shoved her out of the way. Out of the tunnel, Karen walked into the light. She walked calmly forward, smiling when she saw Loren. But Loren drew her sword. Who are you? Loren, that's your mother. She's not my mother, she's an imposter. Daughter? Eleanor recognized the exchange from when Karen had first met her in this realm. Was Faust imitating her? Eleanor backed up from Loren and towards Karen, putting her in the center of the room. I don't know who to believe. I have already met her. Then you did not meet the real me. Loren spun round, turning her back on both Karen and Eleanor. What did you do with the other Karen? I ignored her, as I should be doing with both of you. Loren, don't ignore us, we need you. I'm playing to Faust's hands. I do not like being forced to play games for my enemies, neither should you, if you are actually real. Loren scoffed and went silent. We are real. How can I prove it to you? Loren was true to her word and did not reply. Eleanor slowly walked up to her. Eleanor walked in front of her, and tried to look into her eyes, but she kept them averted, so she moved in even closer. Eleanor's hand touched Loren's hand and slowly guided up her arm and across her shoulder. Her finger then roamed into Loren's neck and past her jaw. Loren visibly shuddered. My princess. In that moment, Loren finally looked at her. She moved her head slightly to welcome her. They kissed, tenderly at first. Loren placed a resisting hand against her chest, but Eleanor did not move, allowing her to deepen the kiss. What is this? Karen's interruption broke them apart. They turned to see her disgusted face that neither had been expecting. What? You copulate with a female elf? Your breeding traditions are sickening. Mother, but you... Loren and Eleanor looked at each other, both realizing that this Karen was not the real one. She couldn't be. I knew it! Loren got a hold of her ember blade with a grunt. It glowed extremely bright and turned almost the whole room blue. Karen hissed and stepped backwards as if the light hurt her. It's true! You're not Karen at all! Karen lowered her arms from her eyes and readjusted to the presence of the sword. You managed to lose several of your friends as well. Mortals are greatly flawed. Faust used Karen's image to laugh at both Loren and Eleanor. They were disgusted to see Karen used in such a way. And the Princess Loren, she worked in my favour by shunning her own mother. Where is she? With your other mortal companions, in my control. Loren growled as Karen laughed again. It was enough for Loren. She sprang forward and impaled Faust's clone on the ancient sword. Faust's laughter stopped abruptly. The fake Karen bent over the sword, threatening Loren with her eyes. Your end is nigh. Then she dissolved into nothingness. Loren gaped at the empty space for a while longer. Eleanor rushed up to her and put a hand on her back. Are you alright? That was just an image of your mother, not really her. I didn't kill her? Loren! They both jumped from hearing Karen's voice again so soon. Out of the shadows of the tunnel came another Karen, distraught as if she had been running a long distance. They all stared at each other for a second. When Karen saw Loren, she bounded forward. Instinctively, Loren retreated in case it was Faust again. I thought I'd killed you! Karen's eyes were fresh with tears as she finally caught up to her daughter. She grabbed Loren tenderly and brought her lips down to kiss her forehead. My darling, oh my darling. Queen Karen, is that really you? Loren raised shaking hands to touch Karen's arms, the temptation to trust her growing stronger. Loren could remember vividly all the times she had felt her mother's warmth. She held memories of embrace of childhood when she won her first proving, a soft touch to the cheek on the day she came of age, and then the look in her mother's eyes when she saved her from the Chizulu ruins. And now, Loren knew that this was her mother. The feeling of her love was something that she could not forget. not after it was so rarely given. Mother. Karen felt Loren finally grip her in return, squeezing her tightly. She had thought she'd lost her daughter, even before the war, but she realized that she never had. Ah, here they are. I told you that we did not lose them. Eleanor looked back at the tunnel. Alphysmo walked out into the light beside Karen. You may all relax now, your Dark Witch has arrived. Eleanor, Loren, everyone. I was so worried. Loren pulled away from her mother, wiping her eyes. She resumed her stern demeanour, knowing that Faust was still at large. What is this room? They all looked to the large portal against the far wall. It rumbled mysteriously. They were mesmerised while watching it pulse. Unbelievable. Alphysmo walked up to the wall and waved his hand through the aura light radiating from it. This is no ordinary wall. What is it? Alphysmo stuck his staff against the wall, and the end of it disappeared. Everyone held their breath while he pulled his staff back out. His staff was cut clean off. Everyone, stand back. No one had to be told twice. Anyone remotely near the portal jumped backwards. I cannot believe where I stand. This is the mouth of death. We stand but paces from a permanent end. We're dead? No, not yet anyway. We're literally on death's doorstep though. All we'd have to do is go right in and then we're dead. So, we are in a limbo between life and death. Faust should be on the other side of this portal, and because he isn't, that's how he gets into our realm. We have come to the actual secret lair of Faust. My divination would never have determined that he was hiding in another realm completely. We are quite fortunate to be dying. We need to get him there. Done. Princess, do not forget that it will not be so simple. Laughter that they all knew and feared echoed around them. This time, there was a body to match the voice. An animated suit of armour materialised in the centre of the room. Faust! I control everything. I control all of the realms. You are here only because I wanted you to be here. Many have walked your path just now. All who die must pass by the gatekeepers of the Underrealm. I am a Death Knight. You've been prepared for your death. That's why you corrupted my friends. That's why I had to kill them. You were never supposed to interfere. You have been very dangerous with their lives. Now you will never see them again. A powerful force shot from Faust and knocked everyone backwards. Eleanor's feet never left the ground, but she was still pushed back. Faust's power was too strong. Faust blasted them all back a second time. They were closing in towards their doom. You don't have to do this. We know that you were once mortal like us. Faust stopped his next attack. The dark magic of this realm corrupted you and turned you into a monster. Faust's eyes flashed, and he was eerily silent. You know nothing of me, mortal. You know nothing of the world that cast me out. The cabin rumbled as Faust grew double in size. You are now in my world, and I cast you out. Faust stomped on the ground, sending another powerful shockwave. Loren grabbed at Eleanor as she came dangerously close to the portal. Your evil ends now. Back to your realm. I rarely think anything is evil, but for you, Faust, I'm making an exception. Ta! Enough! Loren held her sword cold to her. She knew that this was the time to use it. She gripped the hilt of the amber blade. Many things that were once unknown to her became known. She found impulses to perform attacks that she had never before. The sword was guiding her hand. With the gods on her side, she knew how this fight was to happen. She knew she was going to win. Ooh, excellent. Pooch. I don't think I've actually used the pooch up until now. Interesting. I've got to fight bits of his armour separately, am I? Okay, weak to fire, weak to water, weak to... Wow, that's weak to a lot. That's just resistant. That's resistant to pretty much everything. Okay, well, let's hit it for... Well, let's hit it for some big fire damage now. Not good. Not good. Very, very not good.
This may hurt a little.
I want healing on the front row. Alphysmo, I want regeneration on the front row. Annoyingly, I can't bring my best player in because I don't have Draco, but, you know, work with what you've got. Right. Let's continue hitting the breastplate with everything we've got. burn over her.
You're dead.
Decapitate. Admittedly, I don't know how you could possibly decapitate a, chess piece, but okay. Burn it. Darn it, trouble's down. That is not great. Okay, you're resistant to dark magic, so you're resistant to that. Everything else should do decent damage. You need a mana potion. Get trouble back in the fight. Oh, bloody hell. I hate it when they can do that. Okay, is he weak to anything? No. Damn. Okay, just
I'm
general
sorry.
strike with the bees. Fismo. Okay, I want to use trouble to push them back, so I'm just gonna hit him with some base damage. Not good, not good. Not good. Okay, that'll kill it. Very little doing any real damage there, so trouble. Well, Mark 3, that pushes the front row back, allows me to focus my attacks on the helmet, so we can't regen them in the future. Gizmo, generation. This is not brilliant. Front row is taking quite a bit of fire. That's a lot of fire, actually, that it just took. Okay. Oh, bloody hell, Eleanor's down. I know I've got a revive potion.
I will never leave you.
This is not brilliant. Melee attack. Melee attack. Oh dear, trouble's down again. Okay, that's the most powerful attack she's got at the moment. So I probably should have healed them, but oh well. And that does take the breastplate down anyway. Yes! The helmet's down. Which means we've only got the gauntlets left to deal with now. Get more regeneration on them. Okay, the left gauntlet can now strike. But that's okay. Elnor life spell. Okay, let's focus on that one. It's already taken some damage. Jabara. Hit it. Okay.
Everybody, get down!
Fismo. Base
Give
water
them a
strike.
proper
Okay.
burial. It's the right
That was a
thing
good
to
fight. There we go. Faust shrank down to his original size, falling backwards against the portal to the realm of death. Oh, finally, I thought he would never go down. May you find some peace in the afterlife. The wall sputtered and reacted to Faust's body, but he did not fall through. He was not dead. The gateway hasn't opened for him. Alphysmo took in a deep breath. It's time. I'm not sure what you mean. Elnor shot a look over at Loren, her heart suddenly beating wildly in her chest. Someone must force him through the portal, by using their own death as a gateway. Elnor looked wildly between both Loren and Karen, each was eyeing Faust with a deadly determination. Both were completely prepared to lay down their lives at that moment. Both the mother and the daughter moved to make the sacrifice. Okay, so we basically have to decide who lives and who dies. Saving the game here. But I'm going to make the only choice I can. The world needs Loren. Karen's time has passed. Elnor jumped in front of Loren. Stand aside! Loren tried to push past Elnor, but she forced her back. No! I won't let you leave me, not after everything, not after all we shared together. I can't live without you. Loren's anger was softened by Elnor's vulnerability. She hadn't thought that she mattered that much to her. Loren looked past Eleanor with horror. Mother, no! Karen was front and centre, preparing herself to enter the portal. We all knew who would be doing this when we were first told. You knew I would never let you do it. Wait, please! You must let me take your place, the gods! You've done your sword's tasks, now it is my turn. But Karen, the Amazons need you, they need their queen. Karen nodded towards Loren. They have her. But I love you, Loren. I'm sorry I never said those words until now. Loren choked back a sob. No! This is how I am to meet the Great Mothers. Full of glory, honour, pride. Farewell to you all. Karen turned away, resolute in her choice. Eleanor pulled Loren into a tight embrace, pressing her face into her chest. Loren shook in her arms, stifling her tears. Jabara smiled through sadness. See you on the other side, friend. It was an honour to work with you. Alphysmo bowed his head in pain, the memory of his lost child searing his mind. Hear me, Great Mothers. I come! Karen took a running leap. Her spear pierced the armour of the Death Knight, pushing him deeper into the portal. The light of the portal passed over her skin as she broke the boundary of the wall. A blinding bright hole appeared around Karen and Faust. She fell into the light with him. You were right, and you were wrong. I was once a mortal like you. There is no difference between man, elf, or Amazon. You are my descendants. We are all the same. We all share the same end. At last, I now have mine. Yes! Saved Averon from evil. Eleanor could feel her limbs again, and she could see too. The dreamlike haze had completely left her. She picked herself off the ground. Ash fell from her. The volcano that had once housed Faust's lair had been destroyed. All around her, comrades rose from the rubble and helped each other to stand. Everyone was there, everyone returned from the realm. Everyone except... Loren was standing at the edge of the room, staring down at the new cliffside created from the remains of the volcano. The armies below were celebrating, a great victory, and tending to the wounded. They had truly won the day. Eleanor limped to the edge beside Loren. They looked at each other. Pain was deep in Loren's eyes from the loss of her mother, reflecting the pain in Eleanor's. I miss her already. The citadel is in my hands. I must honour my mother by becoming a great queen. You will honour her well, Majesty. The whole world will. They looked over at the horizon together. Rescue teams began to scale the volcano's cliff. The sun was the same as the one they'd once seen in the morning they marched from Hammerhands. But at that moment, it looked brand new. Loren was crowned Queen of the Amazons. Her ceremony was minimal and quiet. No celebrations were held in honour of the dead. Loren made sure to use the knowledge that the Great Mothers had bestowed upon her in her trial. Though her rule would be different from tradition, it would be for the better. Loren's first act as Queen was to release Eleanor from service, making her a free elf. The transition was not as great as Eleanor was expecting, as she would be given much more freedom than she realised, but the first feel of stepping out of the Citadel's gates would be a memory she would long remember. The most important decree of Loren's rule was the immediate release of all slaves from the service of the Citadel. All servants were given their freedom, though many stayed to earn a living and rise in ranks that they were more than qualified for. Not everyone was pleased with the new direction of the Amazons, and some rebelled against Loren. However, they learned that she was not a weak queen. Loren handled all of her challenges with ease, earning their newfound respect. Between Eleanor, Loren, and her defenders, the discrimination against men slowly faded away as they proved to be a beneficial part of their society. The concept of a male Amazon became more of a reality as their civilization grew. Eleanor was recognized as the Queen's lover and given the title of head concubine. Loren was disgusted by this and disassembled the Queen's harem, dismissing all concubines completely. She swore that she needed no one other than Loren in her life, and in the many years they spent together, that proved to be true. Loren would not even take a male mate to produce heirs, sealing the fate of her bloodline on the throne. And when the day did come that an Amazon challenged Loren's title, she made the challenger promise to take care of Eleanor until the end of her days. She agreed, before they fought to the death. Loren died in that duel, and the title of Queen was passed to another worthy Amazon. True to the new Queen's word, Eleanor never wanted for anything, except for Loren. The Dark Elves were reintroduced to the forest thanks to Myr. All settlements in the desert were invited to Grand Tree. Some stayed behind, not wanting to abandon their 1,000-year-old heritage. Most, however, wanted to return to the forest. It was a difficult assimilation for both sides, but little time and reminders of the Great War of Everburn reduced their petty differences to nothing of consequence. Myr became a renowned elder druid, calming radical isolationists and showing the beauty of opening the forest up to the world. Though some elves insisted they didn't want to be influenced by any outside culture, most elves saw that they could keep their culture while embracing others. The Empire made efforts to repair the rift between the human and elven nations after pressure on the council from Alphysmo, who was reinstated as Archwizard by popular demand. There was a great support from both populations, easing the passing of a decree that formally made the two nations allies. Alphysmo himself was finally able to pursue his alchemy in ways that could help the whole world and not just himself. He took on as many apprentices as he could handle, and he helped spread his knowledge of science across Averon. Many lives would be saved from his discoveries. Dora returned to her grimy grimoire and took full advantage of her new celebrity. She quickly became one of the most accomplished relic hunters, learning to use her skills for good rather than greed. Ramus returned home to Hammerhands and took over his brother's position as head of his family. He even dabbled in some politics, though his arguments were mostly him insulting his opponents. Ray's prejudice against the Dark Elves disappeared over time. He even became an advocate for their integration back into the forest. He put his assassin days behind him and tried to put his skills to better use. Draco was requested to become a professor at the Horus Magic Academy by none other than Professor Howell himself. Draco accepted the job and became a favourite teacher, but he also helped the school become a more safe and hospitable place for its students. Amakuki worked to help re-establish the nomad tribes in the north. While some were moving back south to find their herds, many nomads wished to stay. Amakuki helped spread tolerance and support for his people, and the nomads came to respect him instead of shun him. Chambara was finally allowed to move back to her home in the swamps, where she lived in solitude, as she really preferred. Witch hunters would never cease to exist, but Chambara herself had earned a good enough name to live in relative safety for the rest of her life. The candle flickers as its last breath of life, snuffing out the light in the room as it turns to liquid wax. The monk continues to hold her quill above the page, now too dark to write more. She leans back in her chair, satisfied with the story that she had managed to write thus far. Even though there is more to tell, the story of Loren, Princess of the Amazons, had reached its end. The monk's withered hands reach up to her cloak and pull down the hood around her white locks of hair. She approaches the monastery's window. The tale of Loren had been written, and her people would read from these scrolls, learning how glorious a queen her great mothers must have welcomed. The breeze smells of lavender. She closes her eyes and smiles. She still misses her. Eleanor leaves the window and slips into her bed, prepared for the relief of a deep, deep sleep. Right, so that was Loren the Amazon Princess, and I really enjoyed that game, I really did. You know, as I've said before, when you pay 15 quid for a game, you kind of think, might be good, might be bad, you never know, but the reviews were reasonably positive, and I have very much enjoyed it. I'd once again like to thank the person who sent me the DLC for this game free of charge. It definitely adds a lot to it, particularly the additional party members. And yeah, I will probably play it through again. I won't let's play it again though, because, well, frankly, I'm starting to lose my voice. But yeah, absolutely fabulous little game. So, as per usual, I'm going to let the entire credits play out, but I'll mute my microphone. So, thank you very much for watching this Let's Play. If anybody cares, the next Let's Play that I'm going to do will be the Bureau XCOM Enemy Unknown. So, thank you very much for watching. Let's try that again. Thank you very much for watching. I've been RMP792. The Everburn Mountains were the quietest they had ever been, but the smoke still billowed from the black volcano. Inside, the remnants of Faust's lair, the forgotten ashes of his armour, looked like nothing more than dust. The ashes were playfully kicked by a lone succubus, who then stood dominant over the vanquished demon lord. Jewel was free from his control, and of his bothersome rules. She had helped return her to power, but she was never valued. Now, Everburn was hers. Free of Faust's service, Jewel could rebuild the demon armies on her own, and then she would be the one in charge. She smiled to herself. Yes, the demons would rise again. Sequel bait! You have unlocked cheat mode when you start the game. Yeah. Ah, cool. Right, anyway. Wasn't expecting that. I'll have to remember to stick a tag up to say watch to the end of the credits. But yes, sequel bait. But what I would say, if you do make a sequel, I would absolutely play it. In fact, I'd be very interested in playing other Winter Wolves games, so I may well in the future. But until then, thank you very much for watching.